Holy crap. What is up, Gamer Army? Welcome back to another episode of Psycho Gamer. I am your host, Aubrey, and today is a stupendous day. It is an amazing day for gamers and Arcade1up fans alike. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has finally been announced, unveiled, and shown off in all of its glory. Don't know if this is going to be the final product, but they said it is still kind of an early beta. So they are still working on that. So we are going to take a look at all the information that was provided to us last week during the actual release at EVO 2022. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe, guys. We're going to go over every bit of information we possibly can today on this episode of Psycho Gamer. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. Like I said, this is a monumental day for gaming. Now, it was last week when it got released. At least the information was released to everybody through a big event that Arcade1up, John D, and many other streamers actually put out there during EVO 2022. So there was a lot of really good information that they released for this particular cap. Now we're going to look at a couple of the websites for Arcade1up themselves, and I have some other information that was actually announced during that time that really isn't on their websites, but it was actually confirmed not just by John D, but also multiple other people that were actually live streaming this particular event as well. So we're going to switch over into my computer, and we're going to look at some of the information that they've actually got on their website. Go from there. All right. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. What everybody was screaming about. That was one of the top games on my lists, if you look back at my channel, for games that we want to see released by Arcade1up. This was one of the top games, hands down, that this company could have actually gotten their hands on next to any of the Nintendo games. This is probably one of the most graphic intense games that they're also going to get. So it is a Naomi board game that they are actually running on their hardware. So it just goes to show that their emulation hardware, or their hardware to emulate, is actually much stronger than people previously were expecting. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is back. We've freed Marvel vs. Capcom 2, bringing back the iconic fighting game that has been available since 2013, or has been unavailable since 2013. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arrives on Arcade1up with Wi-Fi play. Yes, that means any of these games that you see here, if they have the ability to play online, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, pretty much all the fighting games that you're looking at here, they are going to have online play. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men Children of the Atom, which was a great fighting game, especially for just being strictly X-Men, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, and Marvel Superheroes and War of the Gems. Now, one game that was noticeably missing from this list was Punisher. Not many people really know why Punisher was omitted from this, but a lot of people are speculating that it was because Punisher is pretty much a violent comic book character, and they didn't want to put all the violence that that game brought, or that character actually brings about. So that's pretty much what a lot of people are speculating. Or it might have been they just didn't want to give the license out to this game anymore. So whatever the reasoning is, Punisher on their cabinets is no more, unfortunately. So pre-order start September 8th and ships just a few weeks after. We don't know exactly when the release date is. I think it was October 15th is when the list that was leaked by Gamefly actually mentioned it being out there. Now, if you click notify me, you basically can upload some of your information, and they do let you know when the pre-order is actually ready to go live. Now, from what I understand, the people who do actually pre-order it through the website are essentially going to be the first people that are going to actually get these cabinets. So that's not a bad thing, but we know how sometimes it gets when it comes to these, especially coming across the ocean over the Pacific from China. We just got to hope that they don't have really bad storms and the stuff goes down with the ship. So that would be kind of horrible. So 56 characters back and ready for battle with online play. Now, one of the things that they actually mentioned was that all 56 characters are going to be available from the beginning. That means you don't have to go and spend hours and hours and hours unlocking these. Why? Well, John D mentioned it was because of the online capabilities and online play. Some people that would love to play as Akuma would have to unlock it, whereas you have others that have all the time in the world to unlock them. So I guess it's more about fair is fair, which is fine. I mean, I've gone to a local arcade and they unlocked everything. So that is at least a positive for many people. Now, it doesn't really give you as much of a goal as a lot of people would want, though, because a lot of people would love to go in there and unlock each and every character because it gives them something to actually do as opposed to just play and play and play and play. So finally settle the score, become the best, and dominate Marvel vs. Capcom 2 the way it was intended to be mastered in the arcade. Now, during the whole live stream, Arcade1up had a Twitter hashtag, which was hashtag Freed, F-R-E-E-D, MVC2. And it was Freed, the D was for John D, I guess. So, but they were also doing giveaways, not just Arcade1up, but many of these other streamers that were actually doing the live streams as well. Arcade1up gave them a cabinet to give away. Now, which cabinet was it? That was actually the Street Fighter 2 Yoga Flame editions that they just recently released and have already started trickling out to the people who have purchased it. So the streamers, though, you had Arcade1up, you had Mike of All Trades, Moat, Kongs R Us. He was giving away one as well, but he had internet connection issues, so he was pushing his back until sometime this week. And 19K Fox were all giving away Street Fighter 2 Yoga Flame editions to lucky fans. So post down below if you actually were able to watch the live streams. It was going like most of the day. I think it started at about 10 in the morning and went until about 5 or 6 o'clock at night throughout the multiple different people that were streaming. I know I watched a majority of them. So it was really cool seeing people very excited about it, especially in the chat rooms. The chat rooms, they were just on fire. People were going crazy about this game, especially with other things. Now, you had people that were like, well, now that you got this coming out, what about Capcom versus SNK 2? So there's a lot of games that people would really love to see. This is just the beginning. Tatsunoko versus Capcom would be another good one as well. So I saw a lot of people. They were going crazy. But which game do you want to see on top of this? Would you want to see Capcom versus SNK put on here? I think a lot of people really would. Just saying. So after 13 years, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is back. With the 56 characters to play as, you have endless fun in the 3 versus 3 hyper fighting game. No two games will be the same. Which means each match you have, it's going to be different. Every single match is going to be different. So, insanity. With Wi-Fi play, you can fight opponents across the world playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Arcade1up. And it shows the 8 games again. It has the exclusive side panel art. Now, when you look at the side here, which we'll look at in a few minutes, John D, in all of his glory, mentioned that it looks like Zangief is teabagging Ryu. While that may be true, all any of us could really do is laugh at that. And if you watch the actual stream, it was funny as hell. That's all I can really say about that. Just super funny. Now, you see Justin Wong there. He was the one that actually unveiled it. I forgot the lady's name during the Arcade1up stream. But they basically cut to the actual opening sequence about the game coming out, and then they pulled the sheet back, which was just awesome. I'm not going to waste your time and read all this stuff right here, but it's basically talk about the cabinets, the games you're looking at, And some of the features you're looking at right here, Wi-Fi online play, exclusive side panel art, which you saw, the customizer, the light-up marquee was something I think everybody was really talking about. Now, you know how Arcade1up normally has the really washed-out ones? This one looks absolutely beautiful, which we're going to look at again in a moment here. It's 60.7 inches tall, which is hair over 5 feet. So most of your standard Arcade1up cabinets are about 58 inches whenever you actually have them fully built, unless they are like a special edition one. I think 60 inches is starting to become a little more standard. I mean, it's adding about that much to it. I mean, every little bit helps in terms of the height. Little kids may end up having to get on a stool or get like something to stand on, like a little, milk crate or something. So, not sure if you guys saw it, but it does look absolutely amazing. Now, we are going to go into the next website that they've got right here, which I've already got it clicked. Now, you can see the full art on the side right there. I absolutely love the art on this side. Well, on both sides. You have Hulk, Zangief, Spider-Man, you have Ryu as well. Now, the one thing that people decided they didn't like was actually how this particular part of the control deck looks, and also the top part of it, because they kind of went for that concrete look again that they tend to put in some of their games, and not everybody was feeling that. But next to that, everything was perfectly fine. Now, right here, you'll see like a little itty-bitty line going straight across right here. They did do that extra little bump up. I think that's where they got that extra 2 or 3 inches to make this cabinet just a hair taller than the rest. You have the people playing. Whether they are or not, I couldn't tell you, but they are actually playing it from the looks of it. So see, it has that concrete look to it that not everybody was feeling too much. Which we're going to get to the control deck. Bear with me. You have the other side, and like I said, Zangief looks like he's... Poor Ryu. Poor Ryu, that's all I can say. But the art is just amazing, and it is beautiful on these particular cabinets. Now, from what I understood from the stream, they actually went with the art based off of the PlayStation 2 version of the actual game. So like the box art, that's kind of where they got a lot of this art that you're seeing. And you're looking at a little bit of an angle there. And there's kind of your typical 45-degree angle. Now, it does have your coin door right there, which they've gotten a whole lot better with how it's getting made. And as you can see here, you can see the actual control deck in all its glory that a lot of people are like, on. You can see the actual marquee up here on how it looks. And again, it looked great. Now, one thing you might notice in terms of the physical aspect of this is actually a take off of the Midway Legacy arcade machine right here. They actually, if you look at the actual control deck, it's literally like the exact same build. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to this particular cabinet. I think that Arcade1up is starting to settle into their own, where they found a design that seems to work much better for their style cabinets. So, or their style of games. Now, one thing you'll notice, you got Midway right here. A lot of people were like, well, are they going to put Marvel across the front here, or Capcom, or Marvel on one side, Capcom on the other side? There's so many different things that they could possibly do to this control deck, because that's the only complaint that I've seen is about this control deck, is that a lot of people aren't feeling how it looks, at least color-wise, design-wise. So there's the side again, both sides. And here's the actual control deck itself. You got all your 6 buttons that you're going to find in almost all your typical fighting games, as well as your Street Fighter games. Generally, if I'm not mistaken, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was only like 4 buttons. So you had 2 punches, and you had 2 kicks. You have your headphone jack, your 1 and 2 players, on, off, volume control, and you have the live button, which from what I understand, they actually have added Spectator Mode as well into this. So the screen looks really nice. I don't see anything around the screen. Now, from what they said, was this is not a final product that you're looking at. So they are still working on this particular cabinet in terms of how it looks. So again, the whole look for what you're looking at right here, that may all change. It may not be the final product that you're looking at. And there it is, straight on. So you see the actual marquee. Again, you'd have to go look at the videos for the live streams, and it just looked absolutely great. It's your 45-degree angle, and we're back to the beginning again. So features and specs, I'm not going to go over all these because I kind of touched on those already in terms of the side panel and everything. So I'm going to switch back over. All right, so we're back over out of my computer. Now, some of the stuff that was actually announced during this particular time, I have some notes taken down. You guys saw me post a lot of this information as the live stream was going on, so that's why many of you probably already know some of the stuff I'm going to actually say. Pre-order starts September 8th. It was, now, some of these ones that weren't on the website, this is actually based on the actual arcade ROM. They're not doing the console ROM, so no Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or even Dreamcast versions. This is the full-on arcade ROM. They did confirm that Spectator Mode was actually added in this, so you can actually watch people actually playing. So if you want to see people playing online, you should be able to do that. Scan lines are confirmed. All 56 characters unlocked at the release. Now, here's one thing that a lot of people question about. What kind of monitor is it going to have? Is it going to have the nasty little TN panels? No, they have announced and confirmed that it is going to be the upgraded BOE IPS monitor. Yes, that was what a lot of people really wanted to know, and they were asking about it, and it is confirmed. Now, in terms of the actual arcade stick itself, the controls are very nice and tight, according to everybody that played it. They are using an upgraded Sanwa clone joystick with Arcade1up buttons, which you can always swap those out later on if you decide you want to replace the buttons maybe with some better quality ones. John D stated he is also going to be talking with SNK later this week, possibly to look at SNK versus Capcom titles and more SNK titles in general. Artwork is based off the PS2 version. From the looks of it, they are using the Midway-based cabinet, as you already saw. Don't forget to do that hashtag. I'll actually put that down in the description and on the screen here as well. Also, Arcade1up had a contest on their Twitter this past weekend that if you did the hashtag FreedMVC2, tagged Arcade1up, and posted a video explaining how excited you are for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to be released, it entered you into a contest to actually win another one of those Street Fighter 2 Yoga Flame cabinets. NFL Blitz was not announced, so there were a lot of people that were speculating that there's a good possibility that Blitz might have been announced during this particular show. It was not announced. Most of us didn't really think Blitz was going to be announced, but it was speculated on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So Blitz, there's another video I'm probably going to do that was kind of leaked out a couple of days before. So I think it was like Wednesday, Thursday last week, that was showing off how it looked with the NFL Blitz Legends banner on the side of it. So we'll just have to see how that really goes. Already gone over all the games that are coming out on it. So like I said, there was a lot of amazing, amazing content that was released during this particular show. But what do you guys think? Do you guys love the look of this particular cabinet? Are you as excited on this cabinet as I am myself? I might actually have to try to save some money and actually pick this cabinet up myself because I really did like the game, and it's been so long since I played it. I mean, do I want to go and play just console versions of the games? Not necessarily. I want to get that true arcade feel, and if this cabinet and these joysticks and these buttons and the screen can all give me that, then yes, this is definitely going to be the way to go. So post below your thoughts on this cabinet. I really, really want to see it. I really want to hear what you guys are having to say about it. I know the fighting community can be pretty toxic, but realistically, so can the Arcade1up community. There's a lot of people out there who are very toxic that will sit there and want to burn the company down just because it's not exactly how they want. One thing I have to tell people on that, go build your own company. Do it your way and see how it works out for you. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode of Psycho Gamer. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming out to check out my videos. Until next time, guys, game on.